Hey docs, welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show and our featured guest segment. I am Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch, and today's featured guest is somebody we are happy to call a friend, Dr. Alex Vidan of Vidan Family Chiropractic. He's an expert in sports chiropractic, TMJ care, a co-founder of the Chiropractic Business Club, and much more. We're happy to have him as a guest. Alex, great to connect with you.
Oh, great to be here. Great to see y'all here and everything like that. It's awesome.
Oh, we appreciate it. And I want to trace back a line in the sand that I have seen with you, and that revolves around content. You have been an avid content creator for many, many years, and some of your videos have done exceptionally well. Let's trace it back to the beginning. How did you first get the nerve? How did you overcome the fear to take out the camera and start creating content? And what are the benefits that you've seen with your practice as well?
Oh, I mean, the benefits are numerous, right? Like it's one of those things where, yeah, you reach so many people, you get to connect with so many people. I don't think that there's anybody out there that doesn't look at that and go, oh, there's absolutely no benefit to me doing video and getting that out there and getting that kind of content out, right? If they do, they've had their head in the sand and they're missing it. They really are. As far as what made me start doing it was the simple fact of it needed to be done, right? So I got tired of patients coming in and saying, I never knew chiropractic could help with this or chiropractic could do that. And I'm really big on taking responsibility. And so I would look at it and goes, well, that's my fault. So if I can get that message out there to more and more people, then they can understand, not just for me and my practice, because yeah, it grows my practice. I reach more people. I get to help more people in my community, all that stuff. But then other people get to understand how chiropractic helps in their community too. So people will share my content in their community. And it's like, yep, we do this too, and all that kind of stuff, which I think is fantastic. There's always different ways of us sharing content and building that content to help more people. And it doesn't matter who's doing it or how it's being done. But ideally, it would be best if it's you speaking your message to your community too. But sometimes we got to fill. My why was bigger than my obstacles, right? So my reasoning behind doing it was big enough to where I was not just worried about the money. I knew, all right, if I do this and I help enough people get what they want, which is better health, better living, better family life, like all that kind of stuff, right? All the things they need to do, want to do, love to do, all that. If I could get more of them doing those things, then I knew that I was going to win too, right? And that fulfills my purpose and my dreams and my hopes and all those kind of things too, and my goals. And so I just knew I got to keep doing it. So I would say first thing is figure out like what really is your reason behind doing it. And if it is monetary, cool. That I don't have a problem with that. But you have to realize that the people that you follow on whatever social media platform you're following that are the big, huge names and all that kind of stuff, look at how much content they put out. And they started off really, like small and then started just growing really big, right? So everyone that you follow started that way. And so once they get on a new platform, they're rebuilding their brand and doing all that kind of stuff too. So whenever I started off, it was more difficult, right? It was like getting out the camcorder and doing all that kind of stuff, which sounds really weird to say that out loud, but yeah, that's what we did. We have one of those little like handheld video cams and all that kind of stuff, right? And did that. Now, I mean, I use my phone, and I want to show my phone because I still have an old phone. Like this is an old iPhone. Jeff literally would be like laughing hysterically at both of you, really. It's like, oh, what is that? Like I think this is a 6 or a 7 or something like this is old. So you can't tell me it's the equipment, right? So I just use this thing and shoot. As far as like tips and strategies and stuff like that, like one of the things I like to use, especially when I started off, was Post-it notes. So literally I would take I know that y'all give a lot of content as far as here's information for you to use and everything, and you've got it all scripted, or you've got here's the highlights and those kind of things. You can just take a sticky note, stick it to your phone, no matter which side it's on, right? And then just have your 3 main points that you want to hit right there. So you can be talking into your phone and see these are my 3 main points, and you can stick that up towards the top of the screen so it looks like you're looking into the camera, but really you're looking at your points, right? So that's one thing. I love using props any time that I can. So anything that I can get that's going to be like a prop or anything else. I mean, sometimes it's just like a lacrosse ball. Like it doesn't matter. What do you have that's going to help perpetuate your point and bring that across so that I can take the information that's out there and put it together so that I sound good, so that it makes it to where I hit home with somebody and that I make a point. I also try to look at it as the content that I'm making. I'm trying to make it for one person. Like, who's that one person that I'm making it for? Yes, other people are going to be attracted to it, but who's that one person that's going to listen to that and be like, all right, it's the mom that's, taking care of the kids, right? It's the dad that isn't working right now because he's got this problem or that problem, right? It's the teenager that's doing this. It's whatever that is, and I want to make sure that I hone in on that specific target, so that the props I'm using, the language I'm using, the content that I'm saying, like all those kind of things, the science that I'm going to be relating back to what it is I'm talking about, all relates back to them. And I know other people are going to gravitate to it, and the people that don't, that's okay. That video wasn't made for them. The other videos are, right? So like my news segments, like you mentioned, you know, those aren't as popular on, on platforms where I'm going to have a younger audience. So when it's TikTok, which now what TikTok, like the biggest groundbreaking market group that's coming in there is what, 32 to 50, something like that, that's jumping into TikTok now. Is that right? Is that kind of like the upward trending group? So they might look at those news segments and go, oh, good. Yeah. Great. This guy seems legit. Whereas people younger than that, in their 20s, teens, things like that, they see you on the news, they're like, oh yeah, whatever. This person over here I'm following has all these followers, so I don't really care about that. So the content is going to be different on the different platforms. Although I'll share it on all of them, it just might not be as big on different ones, right? So, and that's kind of my thought process with all of that.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to encourage everybody listening and watching, rewind, because there were a lot of pearls, social media and outreach pearls just listed by Alex. Thank you for sharing that. And I have a suspicion, Alex, clearly you are an action taker. You're somebody that's not afraid to take action and you prides yourself on the ability to do so. I love it. And I think that showcases probably whether you were a chiropractor or you went a different direction, you'd be successful either way. If we trace back some of those success principles, what are some of the success principles that you live by that have enabled you to take massive action, that have enabled you to build a fantastic practice, to get on stages? When you think about that, what are some words and phrases that resonate with you?
I would say just what you said there. Actions are awarded, right? So I know I always need to take action because I'll always learn from those actions. I focus on the wins and learn from the losses, right? So, and that's one of those things I learned. You mentioned sports. That's one of those things I really learned from the Cardinals and working with them and everything like that. That's kind of the Cardinal way. Focus on the wins, learn from the losses. Whenever I start to look at all that, I know that consistency is key. So those kind of things too. So I just know if I can consistently doing it. And then another big thing for me is I'm always a student. Like I'm always learning, always, always, always. Like I try to always humble myself to look at it and go, well, what can I learn from this situation? What can I learn from this person, from this book, from this audio, from whatever this is, this interaction, so that I can look at it and go, all right, how can I take that one nugget, that one pearl, implement it, not just like write it down and go, oh yeah, that was good to know, right? Like actually implement it. And I know that the sooner that I take action on whatever that pearl and that bit of wisdom was that I gained, the faster that I'm going to actually start to create it as a habit in my life. So if I can start to create those things in habits and start to make it to where that's the foundation, then it just keeps building and building and building. I'm not trying to make like a huge switch of 180 degrees. I'm just trying to make a pivot, just a little pivot and a little pivot and a little pivot. As long as I keep building those up year after year after year, then I start to win, on each day, on each week, on each month, and then on each year, and it just keeps building and accumulating from there. So those are my kind of strategies that I look at with all of that to try to bring more to the stage, to my office, to my team, to all that kind of stuff. We've gotten opportunities on lots of different stages and everything. And like you said, people are asking us like, how do you run your practice? How are you communicating? How is it that you're helping more people in your community to make a bigger impact? Because I want some of that too, or I want all of that too, whatever that is, right? And so that's exactly what we're doing. We're teaching docs now how to do those things from the foundational principles of this is how you do things in your practice, like in your business, in your company, to then grow and build. So everything from this is what you need to know as far as, looking at your numbers. This is what you need to know as far as what banks are looking for. This is what you need to know as far as office flow goes. This is what you need to know as far as communication goes. And we're just building all those things from every aspect of back of the office, front of the office, flow, communication, team building, growth, vision, all of that. So it's a process of what we're building within that too. So in our group, right, the Chiropractic Business Club on Facebook, that's where we're kind of growing from. And we've got a lot of interaction in there, and we love the group. They're just great people. So I encourage anybody listening, jump on there on that Chiropractic Business Club Facebook page and go from there, because we're just building like that. That's really what it is. And the goal is just simply that. It's we want to help, and really our goal is this: is to help 10,000 chiropractors double their practice, like double their practice by 2027. Like that's our goal, and that's really what we're looking for. And so we're taking people from every different level and saying, like, this is how we're going to double. This is what we're going to do. These are the steps to take. These are the actions to take. Because as we start digging into this, and because we've all talked about this kind of stuff before, when we start to look at the concepts and the principles that we know to be true for business, communication, service, team, all of that, when we start to really dig into it, there's so many aspects that are missing that if we make either major overhauls or small tweaks and pivots, then it makes a huge impact and difference. And it makes it where it's so much easier and we're so much happier in our lives and we feel so much more fulfilled. And that's what we want. Yeah. So that's what it comes down to.
I've seen a tremendous amount of engagement in the group, and what you describe is so true. I think all of us went to school and we see individuals who come out of school and next thing you know, they have this wonderful practice, and others that seem to just sort of putt along and can't seem to get over the hump. With your experience and what you've seen in the group, what is perhaps the largest challenge that you've seen with docs that are stuck, that are just unable to get over that hump? Is it that they don't Is it technique issues? Is it business principles issues? Is it team issues? It might be a combination of any or all. But what have you seen, and what would you pinpoint as far as maybe one or two of those primary rocks that you've identified and seen that are holding so many docs back?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest rocks that you talked about is communication, right? Like communication, not just with your patients and your community and all of that, but also with your team. And I would say, whenever we start to look at just that communication aspect, like that holds so much within itself, right? Like that resonates with people when they understand how you're communicating and the message that you're truly trying to get across, your intent behind that, your heart behind that, but also your actions, right? So the actions that you show, like, no, this is really who I am, not just the forward facing, what I look like, right? Like not just like what I want to show you. I don't want to show you all this mess back here. Don't look over here. Don't see that, right? It's just, I just want to show you this part. Nowadays, it's much more difficult to do that, right? To hold everything else behind the curtain and do that kind of a thing where you're not really authentically you. And I feel like a lot of people, when they start to show who they authentically are, people start to resonate with it a lot more. And they have a hard time communicating that, but also just communicating with their team, communicating with their practice members so that they can understand, like, this is how I'm going to actually help you get the results that you want, of what I talked about before, right? Getting back to what they need to do, want to do, love to do, all of that. So we get down to finding that driving force within all of those things so that they can then benefit the most. People want, right? They want to be selfish in what it is that they want, rightfully so, right? They have time, energy, effort, and money, all that kind of stuff that they're putting into it. And so whenever they start to look at it as, well, I want to make sure that I get this problem fixed, and I want to make sure that it's my problem that's getting resolved based in my time frame. Now, that's why I'm coming to you, whatever that is. It doesn't matter if it's getting on the news. It doesn't matter if it's a patient coming to us. It doesn't matter if it's, working with your team, whatever that happens to be, getting our message out there, whatever that is. Like, we're all about, like, what's best for me first. And then once you address that, then you can show me all the other stuff. Then you can show me why it is that chiropractic is so great with all these other things that you can show me, right? But I want to know first, like, why is it, like, I need to believe in what it is that you've got going on that's going to help me and my problem first, right? And then I'll go into, now I'm going to understand why it is that I want to do this for a longer period of time, or why it is that I want to have maintenance and wellness care and I want to grow from there, and why it is that my whole family, who doesn't have any symptoms or any problems or any complaints or anything else, needs to come in and see you. Like, I get it now, but I'm initially coming to you. I need you to address my problems first, and then you can start to show me the rest. And we tend to do exactly what you were saying, is we flip it and we go, this is what I want you to know about chiropractic. And I know that doesn't resonate with everybody really well, and I get that. And it comes back to what you just said, what we need to hear and what we want to hear, right? We need to hear the fact that patients want to know from their point of view, how are you going to help me? And not in the whole grand scheme of all the other things about chiropractic that we can talk about, that we love to talk about, that I love to talk about with patients too. But I want to baby feed, like, I'm going to baby food, right? I don't know, spoon feed them, right? That's what I mean. So talking about communication, and I can't get that out of my mouth, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, we're spoon feeding them bit by bit. And then we can start to go, oh, now you're ready. Now you're ready for all of this information that I can give you as more like a buffet, right? And using that example. And then we can go from there. But I need you to understand all this other stuff first. And so as we're giving to them bit by bit by bit, then it starts to make sense for them to go, now we're going to open up to all this other stuff. And that's the same thing with being on the news. We don't start off with, hey, let me tell you how great chiropractic is and how amazing it is and all this stuff. They're like, no, how can you relate that to what's going on for us that's important to us? Then we'll get to your thing. Then we'll get to why it is that chiropractic can help with all this other stuff. So that's really what it comes down to. And if we can start to meet and address their needs first, then what it is that you have in your heart and your passion and your goals and your vision will start to then come to fruition too. But you have to meet theirs first. And that's really what my whole thought process is about. Like, meet their goals first, then the rest is going to come.
Alex, I could not agree more. I love it. Focusing on benefits, meeting the patients where they're at, guiding them along in the process. Absolutely critical. We talk about that in a teach and invite consistently type format. And they say success leaves clues. So I want to give you the opportunity as we wrap up today to let docs know where they can connect with you. Where can they check out those clues? Where can they learn more about what you're up to and really discover how they can take their practice to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, connect. Like, let's get connected, right? So the easiest place is on Chiropractic Business Club. Like, jump on there. That's a free Facebook group and everything. Please reach out to me, right? Instagram, Facebook, any of those places, TikTok, whatever it is, LinkedIn, all those things. Dr. Alex Vidan. So any of those places, let's connect, and then we go from there.
That sounds great. Alex, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Docs, if you're listening or watching, I'm going to encourage you, please connect with Alex. He has a wealth of information across the spectrum of chiropractic. There's no doubt you'll be able to learn something from him. And head over to the Chiropractic Business Club, super engaged, active community. Alex, thanks so much for coming on today, being a guest and sharing. We appreciate it and hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.